All right. You know, I have so many things that I want to share here that I'm finding it difficult to even find a lane. Whether it is birth and death portals, energy, law of attraction. I know I only listed a couple of things there, but there's a lot. And usually when I tap into something like this, it feels really easy for me to just kind of be decisive and have it come through. And it probably just speaks to, I guess, what I feel like maybe I need to do live here is a little bit of like practice energy work on myself and invite you to do that with me, because that often is the thing that I find is the most supportive when I'm having a hard time getting a clear message or being decisive. That's not something that I typically struggle with. And yesterday this was kind of coming up as I was thinking about what do I want to come on here and talk about. And it really comes down to these foundational things, right? I have kind of these 5 to 6 foundational pillars that I like to invite in with clients and in programs that I do, that we need to, they're kind of the non-negotiables. But what I come back to the most, and especially as of late, is the breath and guiding people to connect with their own energy. And this has been just resounding lately in my own experience. And even though energy work is something that is part of my practice, it's amazing how often that seems to slip. It is a constant practice. And so I think that that's just kind of what we're going to do today, is we're going to do a little bit of that practice. And what I'm going to invite you into is a connection with the breath. And then we're going to do an exercise that I call calling back your energy. So it's going to be this invitation of energy coming back and then releasing of energy that is no longer serving. And I'm using a lot of those terms loosely because energy moves, transforms in a lot of different ways. And when I work on someone, there are times when energy with the awareness of it will move on its own. Sometimes it needs support. Sometimes it's really about the person moving it themselves. So I think that we've gotten into this mindset of like, I'm going to release energy, I'm going to move energy. Sure, that can happen, right? I'm not discounting that. But, I think that as I invite you into this practice, something that I really try to emphasize with clients is this, your energy practice, your connection to your intuition, may it be unique, right? We are creators. We are meant to create. And while there are different tools and exercises and ways that you can practice this, the best way to do this is to practice it enough that you become confident to say, I'm going to do this my own way, right? I'm going to do what serves me, what feels best to me. That is how I believe it is intended to be worked with. And I do have kind of some hard and fast, rules when it comes to protection when you're doing energy work on yourself, or more so when you're doing energy work on someone else. But just because you're opening yourself up, there needs to be intention, right? That is the most important thing. I'm going to go into that in another video. But today, what I want to do is just make this connection for you. And if it feels difficult to do this at first, that's okay. And as I am going through, there's going to be visuals that I pick up on. If that's not the same visual that you're getting, that's okay. If you're not getting a visual, that's okay, right? It's not about that. You can just disregard what I'm saying and just feel into the physical experience. You can just stay connected with your breath. So try not to overthink it. But let's get started here. I want you to, ideally, you're already in a comfortable seat. If you are driving, please do not do this. If you are in motion, this is a seated exercise. So I'm gonna have you find a seat. You can also lie down. I think it's probably better done in a seated position. And I'm gonna have you just slowly start to connect with your breath. I want you to notice where the breath is in the body. For most people, they're going to notice that breath high in the chest. Might be shallow. And just with each inhale and exhale, I want you to slowly bring the breath lower and lower. This is something that I have been practicing a lot myself. I was really in a good practice of this, and then through pregnancy and birth, my body just got into a different pattern. It's been almost a year since I gave birth that I've really had to connect with this, and I'm still not quite where I want to be. I'm still trying to get my breath down to that just low belly. And as you do that, as you bring that breath lower, just start to have some awareness of your body. Your sits bones on the ground, maybe some of the other sounds in the room. Bringing your awareness to the top of your head. And just letting things slowly start to come online. You're just following with your energetic awareness, top of your head, the entire face, neck and jaw, shoulders, down the arms, heart space, digestive system, hip space, down the legs, at the bottoms of the feet. Trusting that your intention to bring your awareness there is enough. And we're going to start with returning energy. And so the way that I like to think about this is, as we move from our head to our toes, we're going to kind of start out in our field. I set the intention to, this is someone else's energy that I have collected. If it is of the highest good, it can be returned to them. Otherwise, I invite that to be returned to the earth, returned to the divine. They are far more powerful than we are. We can transmute that into something more useful. That's really the intention, the prayer that I say is, you take this over. I don't need to try to figure out where this needs to go. I can tell that there is some this dissonance here. I'm gonna just let this go. So that's what I want you to kind of set as your intention. If there's other phrasing that you want to use for that, you can do that. Okay, so we're just gonna start out a little ways out from the head. You might already have an awareness of like your aura, your energetic field. This might be something that you work with consistently. This might be the first time you've ever done this. You're just going to start a little ways out from your head. Start to kind of feel around. You might be thinking, I don't feel anything. I don't know what you're talking about. Just follow me, okay? Stay with me on this. So for me right now, what I am sensing into is kind of like this white that fades into a yellow, orange. You can make the connection for colors with the chakras. There might be something else that pops in your head when a certain color comes to mind. Trust that. We don't need to make meaning of the things that show up, but we can let them give us clues. It's kind of like this soft awareness, right? If you think about the book, The Power of Now, like he talks about the thinker and like observing the thought, right? We can observe these things. We don't need to attach to them. We don't need to make meaning of them. Sometimes something is very clear. And if that's the case, we just make a little note of that and we can move on. The goal is not to be attached and try to fix and solve. We're just collecting information. And so as I'm just kind of talking about this, I'm just like feeling energy shift, honestly. It almost feels like as I sit here, there is almost like this kind of fog that I'm feeling, and I'm just kind of moving my hand, releasing that out, just kind of pushing it out, right? That's my intention. I'm just kind of pushing that out. That feels like dense, heavy, thick. It doesn't necessarily feel connected to someone or something. I don't really know, right? It just feels heavy, sticky. It doesn't feel like it is part of my energy. And I'm just inviting that out and away. And sometimes I'll just feel that release in my body. I'll feel a lightness. Sometimes I like to offer that exhale with it and just kind of flick my hands out. I'm just coming in a little bit closer now. I'm not feeling so much like out in that field anymore. You can scan down in front of your face. If there's somewhere that you want to stop there, a lot of people will hold things in the jaw. If it feels appropriate to stop at your jaw and hang out there for a little bit, you can absolutely do that. Our ears are another place too. What you're listening to, what you're hearing. The neck and throat especially. I'm just kind of stopping in these areas. I'm not really feeling a lot for myself right now there, but you can always just stop there for a second. I'm feeling a lot more hanging out at this left shoulder. This to me feels like something that I've collected from someone else. I don't always identify who that is. I don't feel like I always need to. And now keep in mind, I've worked on hundreds of people. And that is why it feels easier for me to discern, like, what is this energy? What does it look like? What does it feel like? Is it mine? Is it someone else's? This is something that comes with practice. For the meantime, I just want you to let yourself pause where you feel like you need to pause. And if there isn't somewhere that comes up, just make a choice. Pause at your heart space. Pause at your digestive system. These are areas that have a lot of connection. They do a lot of work for our body. Just pause there and offer some energy. I'm just going to kind of move that down and out my hand. Next place that's calling to me is digestive system. Gravitating more so over towards the right side, liver area. So there's going to be some spaces where it feels like you may want to hang out there a little bit longer. If I was doing this in its full extent, I would probably hang out here for a while. I can feel just like some heavier, denser energy that I would sit with this area. I'll probably come back to it later. I'm not going to sit and do that right now just for the sake of time. But there are areas that might feel a little bit more like that and you want to hang out, and you can. I'm going to move on. Shifting down to the hips. Another area, feeling like my right hip could really use some additional attention. I'm going to just kind of make a mental note of that and just place some additional just attention there. But I'm going to move on with my hands. Shifting down. And just kind of giving that final flick, letting go. Pausing here. Take a nice deep inhale. Exhale out the mouth, let that one go. All right. Now, when I do the part of the exercise for calling back my energy, I like to bring my arms out to a T. I visualize this like all of the places, the people that I've interacted with are kind of like standing out in front. And I'm going to slowly be bringing my arms forward in front of me, closing them in. I'm going to do that very slowly. And as I do, it's kind of like there's these little magnets at the tips of my fingers, pulling that energy back. Similar intention as before. There might be energy that I have kind of left out with someone, whether that is a thought, a judgment. Maybe I've just been kind of ruminating on something. That's energy sent out in their direction. But if that is no longer serving me, then same as before, I'm going to offer that up. I don't need to transmute that. I don't need to take that back. But there might be energy that does need to come back to me. And my intention is powerful enough for that to just happen. So I'm just slowly bringing my arms forward in front of me, collecting that energy up, and I'm going to start seeing that right out in front of me, and kind of this little ball of light. For me today, that is kind of looking like this royal blue. Sometimes it's like a really fuzzy looking ball. Today it's just like this very shiny, almost looks like a marble. And it's like as I bring my hands closer and closer together, the marble starts to fill in, kind of like a globe even. Like I'm seeing more and more and more of it as I bring my hands closer together. And I would say feels about, that big size of an apple. I'm just sitting with that for a second. And what I like to do is just kind of bring that energy closer to me. I like to merge that just in with that heart space. Almost seeing it like wash over and through me. Returning. Integrating into my body. Definitely take a couple of deep breaths into that. Great. And we're complete. So I'd love for you to try this maybe throughout the week. When I find it the most useful is when I am feeling a little bit of anxiety, when I'm feeling a bit disconnected, like I'm feeling a little bit scattered. Honestly, it's a great practice to do every day. If you could do it to start your day or finish your day, you can get to a point where you can do this quickly enough that it can just be a quick scan, right? You don't need to sit with it, but I think that there is something to just kind of honoring this practice and taking that time. This matters. Your connection to your energy and your breath matters. It's important. It's one of the greatest tools that we have. Your breath is one of the most powerful tools to regulate your nervous system, just like that. It is something that I guide clients to every single session. Probably every single session that they are in with me, that is something we are talking about, something that we are cueing, something that we are using. So when you are finding yourself in any of those states, let's just say anytime that you're not really feeling good, right? Lean into that. Finding a breath that is in the low belly. If you're noticing it high in the chest, just take a second, do a few rounds, bring it lower and lower. Okay. I'm feeling complete. I thought I was going to be talking about a little bit more today, but this is actually a good place to start because this is probably something that will be integrated into these videos and something that we'll come back to. I'd love to hear how this went for you, what you noticed. I'd love to know if this is something that you already do in your practice. If any of this was new to you, or if you do this a different way. Anything that you would like to share, I'd love to hear, but there will be more to come. And I'm excited to be doing this. Thank you.